Hello and welcome. My name's Andy Crook and I'm your host for tonight's training on sales funnels. If it's your first time here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Every week I try and go live for 15 minutes on a subject on one of what I consider the 5 fundamental pillars of running a garage business. This particular topic is in the area of systems or building systems, and it's about building a sales funnel. So without further ado, let's go on with the training, because I've only got 15 minutes and I've got quite a bit to cover. So what is a sales funnel is a great place to start. Well, a sales funnel is a visual representation of the journey your customers take from prospect to the sale. So the idea being is if you can visualize that journey in the form of a funnel that starts wide at the top, where you have lots of hopefully prospective clients, and narrows down to the bottom where you get fewer and fewer until you get to the sale. That's what a sales funnel is. So what we're looking at is the sales funnel taking your clients from cold to warm to hot. What does that really mean? Well, from unaware that you exist to knowing you, liking you, and trusting you enough to buy from you. So it's a useful tool, if you like, to study your funnel to discover where you need to improve along the sales process, where sales are being won and where sales are being lost. If you like, you need to look at your sales funnel. You have to consider it as having a top, a middle, and a bottom. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at those. If you've read some of my or listened to any of my previous podcasts or training videos, what you know is I like to look at things in threes, and 3 is a magic number in my little world. And what the 3 parts of the sales funnel are, obviously the top, the middle, and the bottom, but that's cold, warm, and hot clients. So that's how it breaks down. So what we're going to look at is we're going to look at where we can add the most value to our sales funnels. Now, believe it or not, most garages are doing okay at the top of the funnel. People are aware that they exist. Where we need to improve, I believe, as an industry, is in the middle. So I say this all the time when we talk about marketing. You don't need to be very good at marketing in the garage industry to stand out, because as a general rule, we're pretty poor at it. We don't allocate enough time or resources to our marketing to stand out. So you don't need to do much better than your competition to stand out, because generally we're not very good at it. And one of the things that we can improve is the middle of our sales funnel. And that's what we're going to look at today's training. We're going to look at the different areas, but I would imagine most of you will probably think, when you reflect on it, or if you take any time to think about what I'm talking about, is you'll see that where you could improve is probably going to be in the middle or the warm area of the funnel. So what are the top, what would we consider the top of the funnel? Well, the top of the funnel are the segments I would call awareness and interest. So what is awareness? Well, awareness of their problem. So remember, all businesses really are only there to solve a customer problem. Now, the initial awareness a customer will have that they have a problem will be the symptom. They don't know what the problem is, and they certainly might not know the solutions or range of solutions out there. So the first thing your customer's aware of is the problem, their urgent and pressing need. Then they become aware of your company. And then they, if you're really lucky, be aware of your offer that solves their need or problem. So that is where awareness is. And this is the very top of the funnel. And if you are doing any marketing, no matter what kind of marketing, though we tend to focus a lot nowadays on social media marketing and electronic marketing because it's just so easy to do. These are your website, your social media posts, blogs, or any videos you're putting out there. These are the tools that you can use at the top of the funnel. So when we talk about marketing, when I'm chatting away to business owners, what I often find is that's where they think their marketing starts and ends, is at the top of the funnel, where it's only the first stage of the sales funnel. It is only the awareness part those are great tools for doing, because within your website, your social media post, your blog, your video, whatever it is, you should have some sort of call to action. And what your call to action does is it changes the situation for the prospect from one of awareness to one of interest, which is the second stage of the sales funnel. Now, when we get to the interest part of the sales funnel, it isn't always true that they have made contact with you, but for the process of going through today, this is where they become a lead. They're more than aware of your product or service. They're more than just aware of their problem or their need. They're now interested in taking that step further, which is what really results in them clicking that call to action. And this is where typically in the garage business we provide them with a quote, and that's what we do. How much and how long? That's generally what they're asking. That's generally what we tell them, and there ends our marketing message, if you like. We then rely on that taking us all the way to the sale in the majority of cases. Very few businesses and garage businesses that I've spoken to have a sales system, a funnel, where they've got all of these processes automated, which is the ideal, or someone taking care of it, someone dedicated in their business to the sales team. So once they become a lead, they become warm, and this is the middle of the sales funnel. This is the two sections which are consideration and intent. Now, what are they considering in the consideration area of the sales funnel? Well, what they're considering here is your specific service or offer that you're going to present to them, because they're now much more aware of their problem, and they're probably aware of the solution to their problem if you've done the first two bits well. So if they went from awareness of the problem, they know what their symptom is, they now know what that problem is, you've now quoted them for doing that work, now they're much more aware of the problem, the situation, and your specific service or offer to take them from a problem to a solution. That's what consideration does. And what are the ideal, if you like, tools for the warm prospect? Well, newsletters. Yeah, that's what are really good. Guides and case studies are also really, really good tools for taking your warm prospect further forward. That's one of the things that we should look at. Are we putting on our websites or social media posts, news, or even locally, do we do a newsletter? Are we doing guides? Are we using case studies as our tools for moving people from cold to warm to a hot prospect, which is the idea of the sales funnel? Because what we're doing, they're looking for a solution at this point, not just a company. Now, if you think about whenever you're doing anything online, you'll go through this exact same process. You'll be aware of what it is, your problem. You'll do some basic research. You'll be interested. You may or may not click any buttons and do a call to action whereby you might fill in some sort of lead generation form where somebody can get back in touch with you. You may avoid all of that, and you may then go into the consideration phase where you're still looking for the solution that fits you best, not necessarily the company that you're looking for. And it's when you've decided, right, I need to do something about this. This is when you move into the intent phase. This is when you get to the intent bit, is you become a qualified lead. So you've gone from awareness to a lead to a qualified lead. You're now in a position to buy. It's just who you're going to buy from. And this is, at this stage, the tools you should be using for a prospect in this stage of the sales funnel are comparison style checklists. Yeah? You want to help the customer make the decision. You don't want to try and force him into using you as a company, but you want to create content that presents your offer, your solution, your company in the best possible light, so that the customer that chooses you is the best possible fit for your service that you provide. Now, it all sounds a little bit, wow, how am I going to do that? I'm just a garage. Well, you can do it, and I'll try, and if time allows, give you an example of how we can do this in a second. Now, the warm prospect is what I like to call the follow-up. And there's another training topic on this. It's called The Fortune is in the Follow-Up. So there'll be a podcast and a training guide somewhere on the in the network group, where you can look at how important it is to do follow-ups and how to do some of these things. But that's what the warm prospect needs. This is the follow-up. Now, it's frightening how many garages do not have a procedure or a system in place for following up on leads. So we go from the middle, the warm client, to the hot client, and this is what we would call the bottom of the funnel. And this is where tools we can use at the bottom of the tunnel are frequently asked questions, once again videos, reviews. But what we're looking for at the bottom of the sales funnel, when they're ready to buy, this is where we start to use our long tail keywords, where we're trying to attract people with a very, very specific search term. And this is what results in the sale. And you want the sale to be made by an educated purchase decision by the customer. This purchase decision should be totally customer driven, specific to their needs, that solves their problem. It's a solution for them that's within their budget. All of those things are qualified, if done right, at the bottom of the sales funnel. Now, obviously, this can be done face-to-face, over the phone, verbally, or it can be all done automated on some form of lead generation system. It doesn't really matter. What we need to know is that we have those systems in place within our business that takes the prospect from unaware that we exist to knowing us, to liking us, to trusting us enough to make a purchase. So where are you putting the most emphasis in your marketing, if you're doing any marketing at the moment? Are you completely focused at the top, making people aware of you and then making them interested? Remember, if you're spending a lot of time and effort doing that, they're not searching for you as a company in most cases at this point. If they are searching for you as a company, they're already probably a customer, or they've been referred to you. Otherwise, how do they know about you? That's where most of us focus all our effort, which is great, because what we're doing then is we're warming up all of the customers for all of the businesses. And that's just part of the sales funnel. We have lots at the top, and then we narrow it down as it comes down. If you're now a business that takes a customer and understands the consideration phase and takes that customer a little bit further on the journey into the intent phase by doing some of the things we've said, case studies and guides and newsletters, and keeping them informed of all the services you provide, and then doing comparison checklists when they're at the right point, they know which service they want, they know what's different or better or special about your service. You're then helping the customer make a decision that takes them to the bottom of the sales funnel, where they're hot to trot and they're about to make a sale. So you've got to decide which part that you're sort of placing the most emphasis on, and which part are you the weakest at, and which part you want to improve to see what benefit you can make. Now, it's just a guess, but I would say for most of us it's in the middle, in the warm prospect area, where we're trying to get them to know us and like us a bit more, because the trust comes at the bottom of the sales funnel. So I'll give you an example just before we quickly finish, and that is one of my favourite examples. I use it for lots of the training topics. Is my old favourite, the aircon. So how do we sort of, if you like, create a sales funnel around our aircon offer? So if we're going towards, if you like, the top, and we're trying to make people aware that we do air conditioning servicing, we do air conditioning repairs, we do air conditioning diagnosis. Have you noticed there I've used very deliberate, what we would call keywords, and each of those keywords should have a landing page or a blog post that makes customers aware that you provide this service. Yeah, you could also do a social media post about the fact that you do air conditioning, and you just need to keep popping it out there, making people aware, making people sort of, if you like, aware that you offer the service, as well as generating some interest in your particular offer. Remember that what generates the interest, what changes awareness into a prospect, into a lead, is the call to action. Contact us. Have a phone number on all of that marketing that you do. Have an inquiry form that fills basically some basic details in, so that you can provide them with a quote, whether that be verbal or electronic, an email, a formal quote, if you like, for the service that you provide. Once you've done that, once you've had contact with a customer, or maybe even if you haven't, at least what you should do, if you've got existing customers, you should have a newsletter, because this is what keeps our warm prospects, us at the front of their mind in the follow-up, if you like. This is where we try to get them to know, like, and trust us a little bit more. So you have a newsletter about your aircon offer, but not only in the summer. Have the newsletter go out towards the end of the winter period, before we go into spring. Have a case study. Tell them a story. See the training topic on facts tell, but stories sell. It's a great way of building up a number of case studies and getting some content into your newsletters. Tell them a story about also a how-to guide, how to prevent aircon odour in their own car. Be helpful in your marketing at this stage. Remember, the customer's starting to make a choice. They're going to start to go from considering what service they need to a more intentional, who are they going to buy it from? Are you first choice for that customer? And why aren't you if you're not? Yeah? Are you easy to deal with? What do I mean by that? Why are you easy to deal with? So, for example, if the customer's on a social media platform, how many clicks does it take to go from being aware that they want their aircon servicing to considering you and then being intentional about using you? How do they get to the booking part from where they started? How easy is that? Think about that. Remember that if you went from the cold, the top of the sales funnel, and just relying on a sale, that's more about luck than it is the process. Yeah, you probably got that sale if they went from the landing page to sale because you were convenient, local, nearest, open, whatever it was. Yeah, there was no consideration, there was no intent, and you didn't help that customer make that decision based on what was on your website, unless your landing page was absolutely brilliant. So when they move from the middle, from the newsletter, and they're reasonably hot to trot, yeah, they're ready to sell, they're at the bottom of your sales funnel, they trust you and they want to buy from you. Well, how can we develop that trust? Well, we want to show them reviews. We want to send them a frequently asked questions form after, if they've shown any intent. Have almost like an automated follow-up. Could you send them a short video of the likely things that you could find, what causes aircon to go wrong? Show them that you're a specialist, not a generalist. Yeah? You could use all sorts of information, and remember, you're only going to send this out to people who have shown an intent to sell. You could say, we can do the new gas, we do oxygen-free nitrogen for leak test detection. Whatever it is that you think your offer is better than your competitors, this is the point at which you should be emphasizing that to your customers. Not right at the beginning when they're just making them aware. This is further down the track. This is when we've gone from consideration to intent to really why they should buy from you. So if you then get a sale that someone's been along the journey, and you can get this process so it's repeatable, this is absolutely gold dust. And you need to build one of these for all of the services that you want to sell, or you want to sell more of. Because you've got to ask yourself, how do you get your customers in the first place? If you don't know that, then this is a great place to start, and you can start being a little bit more intentional about your marketing and your sales funnel and building a sales system for your business. Hopefully this has been of some interest. Run slightly over, as always, but If anyone's got any questions, just send me a message or get in touch via the email. And have a good evening and take care. Ta-ra.